Lilith, as we are interacting for the first time, let's start with a brief introduction about ourselves, and then we'll get into the
Mhm.
session and then discuss whatever questions or doubt you might have.
Okay, so as you know, my name is Lalit, and I am having like 3 years of experience uh, in Wipro, and currently I'm working with TCS from last 1 year. I worked as a manual tester, automation tester, and currently working as a SDT, software engineering test. And I'm currently working in the retail domain. It's kind of a retail business, so I'm working with them as a SDAT. So we are basically responsible for creating the automating their APIs and creating a framework and developing a framework from scratch for them. And I'm interested in this machine learning engineer role in because it's a blend of data science and engineering stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I thought of joining the scaler and learn the necessary skills.
Sure, sure. Okay. So, when did you join Skill?
I joined in like 2 months before.
Just been 2 months for you here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, how is it going so far?
It all started with the sequel. It was kind of intense. Like we need to do a lot of questions, right? Some of were difficult, and some of were like the basic joins and all. And so that was kind of bit challenging for me initially, but now I'm a bit comfortable with that. And then Tableau was very interesting to know that we can visualize things very easily compared to Excel. So now for my day-to-day work, I start using Tableau instead of Excel for creating the charts and all. And and currently we are doing the Python from basic, so it's easy for me. Like I'm from that programming background, so
Okay. So, what are the like techniques or tools, or maybe tech stack that you currently use in your job, or maybe you were familiar with before joining this course?
from data science perspective or in
Yeah,
general.
from data science perspective. As I said, you have from coding background.
Okay, so basically, previously we are extracting the data from tools, right, in Wipro. But here in TCS, what we are doing, we are writing the queries for extracting the data from the database. So usually the database schema is provided to us, and based on that, we need to extract the information to conduct our testing. And apart from this, we are using API. So for API, we are generally using JSON as a payload, which is unstructured data, right? And yeah, so that, and sometimes we generally deal with to get the data through Excel, so we can't go every time to the database, right, to access the data. So in that case, we prefer using storing the data in Excel and then using that. So, and apart from this, we also do analysis. Like if something went wrong, so we need to do the root cause analysis of it, and then connect with the developer to get it resolved.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Um, okay, um, got that. So, for you in the course, you have already covered Python and SQL, is it?
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Python is currently ongoing. SQL is covered.
SQL is covered. Yeah, I do see your dashboard as well.
Hmm.
Um, and I think you're making good progress. Uh, you
Okay.
have somewhere around 95% attendance, sorry, PSP and 92% attendance. This is good.
Hmm.
So try to continue like this. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, cool. Let's move on to the questions or doubts you might have, or maybe whatever agenda you had for this.
No, actually, I thought let's have a like chit chat before we yeah before scheduling the upcoming session or doubt session, so we know each other better.
Okay, okay, okay.
Hmm.
Understood. That's good. That's good to know. So,
Hmm.
we will let's discuss a bit about the role you are targeting, right? So, why
Hmm.
do you want to target a ML engineer role?
Okay, so basically, I like the data stuff, analyzing like the EDA process of data science, and I also like to not only build the model but also deploy the model. So currently, I already gone through some courses last year, like the TensorFlow developer certification. So there I learned like building the computer vision and some of the NLP models. But the only thing which I am not aware how to deploy them on a website, like using Flask and all. I tried that, but like we do not have any complete tutorial on YouTube. So yeah, so that was a bit challenging. So in future I'm planning like if I start a startup or I have some idea, so I should I need to learn these skills.
Sure, sure. See, I would like to tell you a bit about the ML engineer role versus a data scientist role,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, the thing that you just described, right,
Mm-hmm.
uh, is more inclined towards a data scientist role, in my opinion.
Okay.
Right? You mentioned about EDA, you mentioned
Mm-hmm.
about not only developing models, but also deploying the models, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is what you want.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So, an ML engineer role, like a proper ML engineer role that I have seen in companies like Meta and all,
Mm-hmm.
is beyond model development. So when I say beyond model development, then EDA is anyways left, right? It's not there in that process,
Okay.
in that job role. Right?
Mm-hmm.
EDA you will not have to do. Your job will come when, let's say, some data scientist develops some model and wants to deploy it. You will have to develop a platform or maybe work with the data scientist to get the model deployed. But it does not mean that the data scientist will not be involved in deployment of that model, right? As a data
Okay.
scientist, if you read about the job description or if you talk to someone who is a proper data scientist in a good company,
Mm-hmm.
a data scientist is expected to know how to deploy a model, right? And is expected to deploy the model as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I am working in a company as a data scientist. I also deploy models.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there will be times when see a lot of models that you develop, right,
Mm-hmm.
uh, will not go to well, not all of them will go to production. Not
Correct.
all of them will get deployed. That's just the usual cycle, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have to let's say you get the whole process is like you get a business use case, you
Mm-hmm.
share a things can be solved using data. You
Mm-hmm.
then do some ED and see if you have some data which can actually help you predict that thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then you have a hypothesis that okay, this can be done, right?
Okay.
So now you start exploring the data more, you start feature engineering, you do EDA and all that stuff. You get into model building process, you go through all the process, and
Mm-hmm.
then when you actually do the evaluation on the data that you have once the
Mm-hmm.
model is built. That's where you finalize whether this model is worth deploying or not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you see in the evaluation that it is not performing as well as you expected or not, you do not have as strong a signal to predict that particular target variable, you
Mm-hmm.
might say, okay, at this point might not make sense to deploy this. Right?
Mm-hmm.
One scenario, or so due to some other business deprioritization and all, your model
Mm-hmm.
might not go to production. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All these scenarios are there, but usually if you're in a good team structure, you have proper process that you follow, right? And if you understand which projects to pick and how to prioritize the projects, usually you will build models which will get deployed. Right? But
Okay.
once you have the model ready that you have developed, you
Mm-hmm.
as a data scientist will be expected to deploy the model to production.
Okay, so it's same like developers we have like they are involved in deploying the model, but there is a DevOps team as well.
Right,
Which
right.
yeah, okay, so ML
So,
engineer is basically these DevOps guys, right?
yeah, not exactly DevOps. There's a
Acha.
new term that is there, which is
Okay.
called MLOps,
Yeah, yeah.
machine learning
Mm-hmm.
ops. We are like data scientists working with some product,
Mm-hmm.
within some product, developing models and all that. There
Mm-hmm.
is a centralized team, a common team,
Mm-hmm.
which has which you call as the data science platform team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which has when they have like multiple ML engineers and all, but
Mm-hmm.
their work is to develop platforms or
Mm-hmm.
provide us a platform where we can go and deploy the models.
Okay.
Right? That is the typical work of a ML engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
So whenever we have to deploy a model, we either work with them or we use the tools that they have created. So
mm-hmm.
it's very similar to your data platform team, right? So the work of a data platform
Mm-hmm.
team is to kind of create that platform and give it to the data engineering team
Mm-hmm.
so that it eases out their life, right? But it
Mm-hmm.
does not mean that the work that a data engineer does is like same as a data platform guy, right? It's different. So similar with ML engineers as well. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want exposure to EDA, model building process and all that, that exposure you might not get with as a ML engineer.
Mm, okay.
Yeah, that is the difference.
Okay, like I thought, like they are means maybe they like a data scientist is doing the ED and then they are giving the data to them to create the models.
No, 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 it's not like
Okay,
that. I mean,
okay.
this is maybe a work of a data analyst, you can say.
Mm-hmm.
Where a data analyst does some analysis, figure out some insights and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And once, let's say, the insights are generated, a data scientist might pick that thing, the insights from there and take it forward to
Mm-hmm.
build a model, say.
Mm-hmm.
That is yeah that is there, but not between data scientist and ML engineer. So ML engineer, your role is to develop scalable platforms,
Okay,
right,
okay, got
for data scientists to deploy their models.
it. Mm-hmm.
Right? So I was actually I had one interview with Meta.
Mhm.
Where I interviewed for an ML engineer role. But
Mhm.
as I started discussing, so I was also very confused at that point. What is the difference between ML engineer and data scientist? And I got a call as well for that.
Mhm.
But when I talked to the recruiter in the first round itself, I felt that there is no mismatch, right?
Okay. Okay.
Because the expectation from me was very different within what I do as a data scientist.
Mhm.
So you need to know system design. It's good to know as a data scientist as well. If you know system design, it's good. But your work will be very different from what you do. In like some good companies which has a really clear line between the roles. There are a lot of companies who mix roles,
Yeah.
right? They do
Correct.
not have a very
Mhm.
clear definition of what a data scientist will do versus what a data analyst will do and all that.
Mhm.
But especially companies where there's a very clear line on what you are expected to do as an ML
Mhm.
engineer, you will not get a chance to work on the pre-deployment stuff of models.
Okay. Mhm.
As an
So.
ML engineer, you're expected to know data science to some extent, at least all the models, what they are and how they work.
Mhm.
That is expected, but not in that great detail.
Okay. So like while targeting the roles means what is the expectation for like the DA role and ML engineer role?
Mm. When you say DA role, you're talking about data analyst.
Sorry, DS role. Yeah.
See,
Uh,
a data scientist, I would say, is expected to be good at programming.
mhm.
Right? Similarly, ML engineer also, I would say, is expected to be good at programming.
Mhm.
Then you need to have a get good understanding of business problem solving, right, as a data scientist. And
Mhm.
ML engineer does not need that to the extent, right? A
Mhm.
little bit of knowledge is okay for that, but as a data scientist, you need to be good at business problem solving for you to identify the different business use cases and convert a business problem into a data science problem, right?
Mhm.
Then you need to be good at, like, actually very good at machine learning,
Mhm.
uh, some places deep learning, right?
Mhm.
You need to be good at these skills. You need to be good at stats
Mhm.
for you to understand the maths behind the models, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, and SQL also you need to know for you to extract the features, the feature
Mhm.
engineering and all that. Right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, so this is what is expected from you, and then you need to know the deployment stuff as well, right?
Mhm.
How to deploy a model to production. You need to know that. Then coming to an ML engineer, you leave all the data and development part behind. You don't need all those skills.
Okay.
Right? You still need to be good at programming, but your skills are required more to design systems, right? Create
Mhm.
systems for
Mhm.
deploying the models.
Okay.
You need to be good at software engineering. You need to be good at system design, programming. Right?
Mhm.
Basic of ML is fine if you understand how the models work, so that you can create that platform in that way, right, for the
Okay.
model deployment.
Mhm.
So that's what ML engineer needs to do.
Okay. And like you were like starting in this field, or you were transition from some other field to data science?
So in the very beginning of my career, if you ask me when I joined my first company,
Mhm.
at that time I was not like in data science.
Mhm.
Yeah, so then I was actually preparing just after my college. I started preparing for this field.
Mhm.
Yeah, it took me almost around 1 year for me to get my first, almost like 8-10 months to get my first project in this field.
Mhm.
And then from there I continued as a. Then there I was software engineer, system engineer, software engineer, whatever you
Mhm.
want to.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Then moved to a startup in Bangalore here, like analytics and services based startup, and there I got my role as a data scientist. That was
Okay.
the first switch.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So like how difficult it will be me for like a three like by I guess I will be like by the end of this course I will be around 3.5 or 4 years of experience maybe, right? So how easy or difficult it for me to switch to this field, or like I need to show my experience that I was working as a like a data scientist or an ML engineer.
See,
So. Mhm.
when I made my first switch, right,
Mhm.
my designation was not anything in data field,
Mhm.
right? My designation was a system engineer,
Mhm.
right? And when I appeared for the interviews, I had like a few projects that I had done, very basic ones. I would say not a very end-to-end kind of project that I worked on, right, before
Mhm.
the switch. Where I
Mhm.
only used to get some small tasks on data science or some small POCs to work on, right?
Mhm.
Which were not like extensive projects where I did a lot of ML and all.
Mhm.
So had very like basic stuff to showcase in
Mhm.
terms of projects. But I think one thing I did right was gaining the right amount of knowledge and
Mhm.
understanding of the different you know, tools and techniques for this field. I
Mhm.
did like courses on like studied from YouTube on my own. But
Mhm.
in my interview, like initial rounds were on stats, programming, uh, then some project that I worked on, some
Mm-hmm.
questions on that. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then the next one was I was given a use case and then I was asked, how do you solve this use case? So if you have developed an understanding on how you can solve use cases
Mm-hmm.
in like in, from any data science use case that was given to you, if you're able to think of a high level approach, then I think as a beginner it's good, right?
Okay.
So if you get to the right level of understanding and you develop the right set of skills, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's not like very difficult for you to get a job after like 3.5 years also, right? Because the thing that matters most is in the interviews whether you are able to answer the questions or not, right? The interviewer is asking.
Correct. Correct.
Designation
Mm-hmm.
and all is secondary. Once you clear the interviews, it does not matter what your designation is.
Mm-hmm.
You will get the role, right? But knowledge is a must, right? So your focus should be on building the right set of skills and
Mm-hmm.
understand, creating that, having the right understanding of this field.
Okay. And like, will this course will be enough, or we need to like do some other stuff
No,
outside?
I think this course is enough, right? This course is structured in a very uh, good way
Mm-hmm.
and gives you all the content in a very structured format, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also optimizes on your time to prepare. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you look at the individual topics, right? If you go outside, uh, you will like just keep on reading left, right, center, but it will not be directional. Uh,
Yeah. Correct.
so
Mm-hmm.
this course gives you that clear path that you need to follow. So
Mm-hmm.
my advice to you would be that follow this course properly,
Mm-hmm.
solve all the assignment and homework, attend all the classes here. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
you want to get deeper into some topic that interests you, or maybe you think you want to understand more about something,
Mm-hmm.
for those topics you can refer outside to some resources. But
Okay.
you always have to do selective reading. Don't
Mm-hmm.
like just go outside and keep on clicking on links. Right? It will just eat up your time. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want to do that, do selective reading and then come back to the course.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to practice also, there are platforms where you can practice. But yeah, just for practice in Python or let's say in SQL, you can go to those platforms and practice answering the questions. Given
Mm-hmm.
that you have already solved good number of problems here
Mm-hmm.
at scale, right? And if you want additional problem to solve, in that case you can go outside.
Okay, okay. And like, what level of difficulty will be there for this SQL and the Python rounds?
For a data scientist, I would say uh, minimum is like you should be good at easy level at least, lead code easy level.
Okay.
That is very much required. If you can also have some comfort with medium level questions, or you can solve some questions on medium level as well,
Mm-hmm.
it will be good, right? You can then solve like good questions as well in Python. And SQL also same thing. At least as SQL at least medium level, try to solve.
Okay, okay, okay. So it's not like means we need no need to go to like the uh, graphs and like
No,
the okay, okay,
no, you don't need graph trees and all.
mm-hmm.
Queues, tag, linked list, these things are not required.
Okay. So I mean strings are needed, right? So
Strings, arrays,
acha,
let's say hash map,
mm-hmm.
mathematical formulation based questions,
Okay.
logical questions. These are required. Yes.
Acha, okay, 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 okay. I think I'm already good at that part. So like okay, and like for HLD and LLD, I didn't saw that it's covered in this course.
Yeah,
If,
so
mm-hmm.
you can read a bit about ML system design.
Mm-hmm.
LD and LD are like more specific towards software engineer interviews,
Mm-hmm.
but there's something similar in this field which is called ML system design
Mm-hmm.
that you can read about.
Okay. So like I saw ML ops is there, but and also I saw that the DSA, okay, which is means like the but advanced level DSA is also like not covered. So I
Yeah,
thought maybe it's not required.
yeah. So even system design or I mean, as I talked about ML system design is
Mm-hmm.
also not required for a person who's getting started right, in this field.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it is expected from people who have some experience, right? Who already worked on projects and have deployed models and all. They need to know ML system design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And like, what do you think? Like, would be a better career path? Whether I should target the DS roles or should I target the ML engineer role?
I see. I mean,
You know?
I can give you advice, but it more depends on your interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you're interested. So first thing is try to see what you want to pursue, right, as a career, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that, also see what kind of work interests you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've told you the roles and responsibilities
Yes.
and
Yes.
work of
Mm-hmm.
a data scientist and ML engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I can give you data points, right, to
Okay. Okay.
you for you to take decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you will have to decide. Both the roles are good. ML engineer comparatively is a newer role,
Mm-hmm.
and sorry, and currently picking up.
Mm-hmm.
Data scientist role has been there for very long, and we already know what kind of work is done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, based on what you would like to do in your career, you can choose the path. Even later, I mean, it's not that data scientist cannot become an ML engineer. Right? It can. I think vice versa. I mean, an ML engineer also can cover the skills here and become a data scientist. That also is possible. But for now, try to see what field interests you more or where you're more interested, right? Where interest lies, and based
Mm-hmm.
on that, just try to take a decision on what field you want to pursue.
Okay, and one more doubt is there are two things, right? ML, those two specialization, I would say, deep learning and machine learning. So
Mhm.
in deep learning, we are having NLP, computer vision, and time series, right? And in ML, we have those traditional models, like random forest and all, right? So what do you like say would be better, like to take as an specialization, and which is having the greater demand in the market?
Sure. See, if you go for a deep learning specialization,
Mm-hmm.
in that case, and if you're not doing the ML specialization, like you are
Mm-hmm.
not learning those algorithms properly, I'm telling you in that case,
Mm-hmm.
then you might want to target let's say a computer vision engineer role or a NLP engineer role. I mean, there are like different companies who hire for specific roles as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want an NLP data scientist, right, for this.
Yeah.
Data science, NLP, computer scientist, computer vision.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then there is ML specialization, which is like a for a generic person who wants to become a generic data scientist, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the specific roles are comparatively lesser in the field,
Okay.
in
Mm-hmm.
the industry. Like everyone wants someone who can actually solve multiple problems, right? Not someone
Okay.
who says, "Hey, I only will solve problems on NLP," or "I will
Mm-hmm.
only solve problems in computer vision."
Okay.
People are like skilled in the field overall and can tackle multiple problems because it's not possible for some company until it's a very large company or too many specific company
Mm-hmm.
that he will get only energy projects or you'll get only computer vision
Yeah.
projects.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So in my current organization also we have like some people who are specialized in let's say computer vision or NLP, but those numbers are very small. I would say not even 10% of the overall team.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you restrict yourself to one of the fields, computer vision and NLP and all, then I think the scope would be less, right?
Okay.
And as we're just getting started, my suggestion would be, or my personal opinion is that you should be someone who can tackle multiple problems, right? Who can solve different problems in this domain. Right? Not someone who says specialization comes maybe later, where you have solved like, a lot of problems. Now you want to focus on a single domain, right? And you say, hey, I've solved multiple things. I think this is where I'm interested.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, you can maybe, after working in the industry for some time, later on decide what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay, okay. So like I was asking now, like see, we are currently doing the basic Python, right? Which we need to know before starting the actual coding, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but in the real world, we just need to use the libraries, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
in a day-to-day work. So is it good practice to like whether I should practice this basic stuff like in 2 3 days or maybe in a week, or I should most majorly focus on that like how to utilize those libraries and all.
It's actually not or. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it's an and because
Mm-hmm.
see, the thing that you are being taught right now,
Mm-hmm.
is required for you to build your foundations right.
Okay, yeah.
Okay? And foundation is very important
Mm-hmm.
for you in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I have to tell you about myself, one
Mm-hmm.
thing that I think when I was doing it, I didn't know why I was doing that. But now, if I look back, I think that was very helpful for me is doing coding in my college times. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I used to do competitive programming at that time, started with C++, C, and moved to Python. Uh, but now, if I see, I think that has helped me a lot throughout my career. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that helped me to build my foundations in a very right way
Mm-hmm.
and learned a lot of basic stuff. Especially, I mean, as I told you, right, I started with C, C++. C, C++ has, I mean, if you go to C++, you'll get some libraries also, but in C, you won't get any library. Like everything you have to do from scratch. It's
Mm-hmm.
not that like Python, you do a .len and you get the length and you do dot sort and you get sort the array or string, whatever, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
not as than C. C is very different, right? And then C, coming to C++ and then to Python, helped me build the foundations in the right way.
Okay.
And that thing actually helps me till today. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry. If you ask me about the sequence, I would say first learn about the foundations, what you're doing right now, and then move to libraries. and that is the reason why the course also has these two things in the same sequence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Course also has, I mean, otherwise they would just have kept the libraries, right? Not
Yeah,
taught
correct.
the basic Python stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
it is required. Now, again, I mean, maybe if you are going to cover Python in, let's say, 1 month or 2 months, that is
Mm-hmm.
also not going to be 100% sufficient, but it will give you like some basic understanding or the context on what it is, right? And
Mm-hmm.
to help you, the next phase of that journey, the libraries part, will comparatively become easier for you to understand.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, you should continue doing hands-on. As I said, you also have some background in coding and all, so
Mm-hmm.
continue doing hands-on and coding, and you should continue solving problems on your
Mm-hmm.
own even after this course. Right?
Okay.
That is very much recommended.
Okay. And like currently in our project, we are using Java, right?
Mhm.
So whether so I'm clear on like the Java data structures, like how it is done, right? Same
Mhm.
way it is done in Python, but
Right.
the syntax is very different, right?
Right.
So like for the coding rounds, like are they okay with any programming language, or I should learn those data structures in like Python?
See, again, not a lot of data structures will be expected from you in the
Mm-hmm.
interviews, is one. But you will need to code in Python, because see, one thing is nobody is going to expect you to solve a very complex DSA problem, right? People are mostly going to expect some logical problems or some problems on arrays and strings and all that.
Mm-hmm.
These questions you'll have to solve in Python itself. Right? This cannot be language agnostic, because one thing is, as a data scientist or whatever, I mean, role you want to get into, you will mostly work in Python. Right?
Yeah.
Uh, Java is not used at all. Right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and it is just to see how well you can code in Python, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it gives like two, three things, right? It gives how good you are at programming, how good you can program in Python, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these both of these things are required for you in that role. So uh, uh, I don't think a lot of companies will be comfortable with any language for you to use, because
Mm-hmm.
they're not expecting you to solve like very complex problems. Right? It usually happens in software engineer interviews and all that.
Yeah.
You are given the freedom to choose any language. You can choose C and C++ and code in that itself, right? That
Mm-hmm.
happens in software engineering field, but not in the data science field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think comparatively, if you see, if you have the foundations right in any language, learning
Mm-hmm.
Python is not that difficult, in my
Yeah. Yeah.
opinion. And I think
Correct.
a lot of people in the industry has a similar understanding that it's not that difficult a language to learn. So it's like very, very close to it's a very high level language, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it's very user friendly and like, you can quickly learn. If I ask you to code in C, maybe someone will get stuck, right? A person who knows Python, and it will take a lot of time for that person to learn
Mm-hmm.
C compared to what a person who knows C will take to learn Python.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah. So it's a very high level language and very close to normal pseudocode as we write. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it should not
And
be like that difficult. Actually. Sorry for you.
okay, okay. And like one thing like I was curious about, like how a day of a like typical data scientist look like right from logging in.
Okay. See, I mean, typical days, basically, if you're a pure play data scientist, in that case, a lot of time you will be involved in model development phase itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you can say pre-model development phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Identifying different data sources, generating a list of features that
Mm-hmm.
you will include in the model,
Mm-hmm.
creating those features from the data sources, uh,
Mm-hmm.
like it's called feature engineering, and checking if features are like useful or not, then
Mm-hmm.
trying out a model. Right? Model building is a very small. A lot of time goes into creating the features, identifying the data sources for features, what features will you use, and all that. And then you develop the model, and then you move to post development, right? Evaluation, and we'll see how the model is working. Maybe if not well, then what other features you can include. Then you come back to the feature engineering phase. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the usual work that you will be doing as a data scientist. Right? A lot of time will be spent on pre-model development part, then some
Mm-hmm.
time on model part, and then again on a lot of time on model evaluation, improvement, and first you'll do offline evaluation, then you might need to tune the model or add additional features and all that. You'll iterate
Yeah.
like that, and then you'll have the final model ready. Once you have all the life cycle of model development complete, then comes
Mm-hmm.
the model deployment part, where you'll spend time on deploying a model to production.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Got it. Got it. And like do like these Flask and Django and all will come into the picture while deploying the model, right?
No, see, a lot of deployment happens in the on some cloud platform, right?
Okay.
As
Mm-hmm.
I said, if you have a ML engineer team, then the
Mm-hmm.
platform part will be already taken care of, right? Some team will already give you the platform they need to deploy. Right? So you just need to put the configuration there. You just need to see if your features are there in the production. Maybe see the feature store and see if the feature store has the features or you need to ingest features into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And create the pipeline for your model to get the data, right? And then you write the code to for the inference part and all that. But Django Flask usually is not required in production, especially when you have a very scalable system where we get a lot of requests. Right?
Okay, okay, okay. Got it, got it. And like, so are we like using any like what life cycle we are following? Like, is it some waterfall model or agile model? Like, how?
We usually follow Agile.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's kind of a like sprint based, right? 15 days or
yeah, yeah. Correct.
Mhm. Okay, 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 okay. Okay, so like, I'm pretty much clear, like the difference between these two roles,
Sure.
and like yeah. So